I still have the most confidence whatsoever in this Miami Heat team. They will make the adjustments tonight. Okay, Jimmy Butler will play better. I believe that they will take away Christian Brahms. Although he had an excellent game 3, they will take away those 4 or 5 backdoor cuts out of the corner. They probably went into film session and watched film, some things that they could clean up. I'm still confident in the Heat, and I believe that they're going to win this series. Nothing has changed.
Well, I don't believe they're going to win this series. I think they're going to lose it, but I'll say this. I think they're going to lose it in 6 games, not 5, which means I could see Miami winning the game tonight and tying the series 2-2, going back to Denver, losing game 5, then coming to Miami and losing game 6, and Denver wins the championship. Having said all of that, yeah, you had your moment about the Miami Heat. Fair enough, no doubt about that. Lakers is a different matter, but we won't go there. That's passé. That's history. We'll stay with the present. But in the end, when we talk, yeah, you had the Lakers coming out of the Western Conference. I'm just saying that's what you did.
And you had Golden State.
I'm just saying you were wrong. I'm just saying that.
And you had Golden State. So you was wrong.
I feel you on that.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
just saying.
Well,
I'm acknowledging I was wrong. You just walking around like you wasn't wrong.
I never said that.
Did I interrupt you? Did I interrupt you?
No, but I'm just saying, I never said that.
I'm sorry, did I interrupt you, Mr. T? Did I interrupt you? I pity the fool. I pity the fool to interrupt me. I pity the fool to interrupt me, okay?
Go ahead.
You understand that? Chill out. Now, here's the deal. The Miami Heat, everything seriously comes down to the three-point shooting as far as I'm concerned. In the 5 wins that they've had over the last few games in the postseason, they shoot 48% from 3. In their losses, they're shooting 34% from 3. It really comes down to their ability to hit perimeter shots. You know that Bam is going to get off a little bit because Denver is willing to concede the mid-range shot to him. You know that Jimmy Butler is going to have some trouble because they know that he's the catalyst. He's the guy that stirs the cup, and he's not 100%. Perk, we got to acknowledge that. He's not 100%. And when we look at Jimmy Butler grimacing all the time, he's just fighting through it. But he's not 100%, which makes me feel really, really bad because I wish he was at 100% because it'd be a greater test for Denver. Having said all of that, when you've got Jokic and Murray putting up 30-point triple-doubles in the same damn game, Miami's got to find an answer for that. They've got to hit their perimeter shots. I told you I'm down here in South Beach. Not only do I know some police officers, some members of the sheriff's department and stuff like that, I know a couple of prosecutors and stuff like that. I got an APB out for Caleb Martin. I've been looking for him since the Eastern Conference Finals ended. I don't know what the hell happened to him. This was my MVP in the Eastern Conference Finals. I can't believe the drop-off. Hell, I'm in a studio, Kendrick Perkins. I'm down the hall from a United States Senator as we speak. Right now, I just finished talking to him. I'm like, I got all hands on deck trying to find Caleb Martin because we're looking for him. We can't find him anywhere, okay? But the bottom line is you're going to need people like him, like Gabe Vincent, who didn't have the greatest game last game. Max Strus, you're going to need your role players to step up. I believe that the Heat will find that tonight, but I'm still not confident because unlike the other series, all the other series that they've taken place, you're seeing a deterioration take place with the Miami Heat. I'm talking health-wise. I'm talking being spry, energetic, etc. A lot of those brothers look tired, Kendrick Perkins, and in the case of Jimmy Butler, he actually looks very, very hurt. He's just fighting through it.
I would like to hear that conversation with the Senator, Mr. Smith. I can't imagine we'll be hearing that on your podcast, I'm sure. Well,
I know. I told him this, Wendy. I said I ended the conversation, Wendy, by saying to him, "My name is Stephen A. Smith, and I approve this message." You can continue.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anyway. So here's the thing, Perk. I respect how you've, been on the goons from Dade County, as you've been saying for 2 years, because you've been proven right a lot for backing them up. The indications on the dashboard are very, very worrisome. First off, it's hard to fathom this, but the Heat have lost 5 of their last 7 games. You think about that. They've lost 5 of 7. They've also lost 3 in a row at home. Jimmy Butler is shooting 42% over the last 10 games. It's just not there. And one of the things, he was still able to get to the line in the series against the Celtics. He got there 8 times a game, so his efficiency wasn't so bad. Against the size that the Nuggets are throwing against him, he's having trouble. He's working hard, guys. He really went into the post. That was one of the things that the Nuggets coaches really circled. They noticed how he really worked hard to get into the interior in Game 3. He's not getting to the line. He's got 11 free throws in 3 games. The Heat are averaging 10 fewer points in this series than they did against the Celtics. Now, some of that's because the pace is just a lot slower. Some of that's their own doing. They're averaging less than 100 points a game in this series. It's very hard to do this. The other thing I'm going to say, Perk, I think Eric Spoelstra is the best tactical coach we have in the NBA. I know that he'll have some wrinkles, and I know that they're going to be going to the Pat Riley line. No rebounds, no rings. You cannot get out-rebounded by 25 and win a game at any level. And you know that Pat Riley was furious about that number. So I expect that number to narrow. But even if they're able to hit some threes, Stephen A., you are right. The three-point shooting is the great equalizer. I'm watching what the Nuggets leaned into. I am not an X's and O's guy. But the point of the Denver offense in Game 3, they played the dribble handoff. It's the Heat's whole strategy is to try to slow down Jamal Murray. They know that they cannot slow down Jokic. They know there's no way to really do it. So they've targeted Murray. It worked in Game 2. They kept the ball out of his hands. But when they go to that dribble handoff, Perk, that just basic play where Jokic just pitches the ball to Murray as he comes around, I think it's really hard to keep them out of the two-man game. And the Heat tried throwing double teams at Murray as he came off of that, and it didn't work because then you're playing 4-on-3 with the ball going to Nikola Jokic. I absolutely respect the Miami Heat. I am not counting them out, but as I watch the trends in this series, the windows that I'm seeing and how they're going to do it are closing.
After watching Jimmy Butler struggle offensively, obviously you say it's a huge testament to how he's a little bit hobbled. But in the first 3 games, do you believe that he can be the best player on a championship team when he's at 100%? Of course.
Do not.
Okay.
Even when he's 100%, I don't believe that. Here's why I don't believe that. As Kendrick Perkins eloquently explained just a few days ago, you talked about the fact that you think about superstars and what we usually get from those superstars in terms of offensive production. That's not Jimmy. Jimmy is a star, make no mistake about it, and he's a closer, make no mistake about it. But as J.J. Redick pointed out the other day, a lot of his success is predicated on his ability to get to the free throw line. Well, you know what? You know what it takes to get to the free throw line? It's not just about fouls. It's about fouls getting called. It's about the officials being cooperative to some degree. There's some calls that you're going to get, and there's some calls that are going to get missed. And there's some calls that are flat out not going to get called. And when your success offensively is so predicated on that component, I don't think it bodes well for that to be the way that be the leading individual that guides you to a championship. Under no circumstances am I trying to imply, guys, that you can't win a championship with Jimmy Butler as your best player. I'm not trying to say it can't be done. I'm trying to say it's not ideal, it's not conventional, it's not normal, and in most instances, it doesn't measure up to snuff. When Jimmy Butler lost the championship in the bubble, it's because he was going up against LeBron James. When Jimmy Butler and them lost last year in Game 7 to Boston, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum went ballistic. With Jimmy Butler doing, in these NBA Finals, Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray are standing in his path. So what I'm saying is that it's not that he's not great. It's not that he can't produce for you. But usually when you want to win a championship, Jimmy Butler is a Jimmy Butler type, that is usually that second tier star, as opposed to the preeminent star that leads you to that promised land on the offensive side of the ball. It's usually someone more potent than him that pulls it off, a la Steph or Kevin Durant or LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard in Toronto, et cetera, et cetera.
So let me steal a page out of J.J. Redick's book. I need clarification, okay? Are you saying he can't be the best player on the championship team, or are you saying he can be the best player on the championship team? That was the question.
I'm saying for the most part, no, he cannot be. You need something a little bit more in order to win the championship. Now, obviously, I'll be wrong if he wins this championship, if he wins this series. But if he doesn't, which I suspect he won't, I'll be right. Because, again, he's a lot of things. He's not Nikola Jokic.
Well, you're going to be wrong. You're going to be wrong because Jimmy is going to carry this Heat team to a championship this season. he's going to get it done. And when I look at this Miami Heat team, I think about, the Detroit Pistons, where they really didn't have a bona fide superstar. And I'm not comparing them to them because, you think about that 04 Pistons team, they were one of the best defensive teams to ever win the NBA championship, hands down. Now, you did have Rip Hamilton and Chauncey, but think about this, and Rasheed Wallace. But Chauncey Billups, if I'm not mistaken, was the finals MVP. No one looked at Chauncey Billups as a bona fide superstar, although he was an all-star caliber player, although he was one of the most elite point guards in the league at the time. No one looked at him as a superstar. But when it got to the postseason, all of a sudden his game elevated. And we've been seeing that out of Jimmy Butler time and time again. And yes, I questioned Jimmy yesterday about Jimmy Butler and him saying, okay, yeah, playoff Jimmy is not a real thing. And I said, damn it, the way you've been playing, I'm starting to believe you. But I still have that faith in Jimmy that he has enough dog in him, enough willpower, enough want that he's going to come out here tonight and he's going to close this series out. So to answer your question, Christine, yes, Jimmy Butler can be the best player on the championship team. And again, Stephen A. and Wendy, for all the basketball experts out there that are not experts, I'm not comparing and saying this Miami Heat team has the same personnel as the 04 Detroit team. All I'm doing is saying I'm basically comparing Chauncey Billups and Jimmy Butler and what they could basically deliver in the postseason. That's it.
Okay, so I feel a little bit awkward what I'm about to say here because I really want to focus on this series, this team right now. But I wouldn't be being honest with you if I wouldn't say that in the NBA, one of the big discussions that's happening right now is the short-term future of the Miami Heat. So they're competing for a championship. Tonight, they have a vitally important game, must win, trying to win the title, trying to raise a banner. But there's also the possibility that this team is going to be in position to significantly add to this roster within a couple of weeks. And I don't like doing that, but transaction season is basically starting. The conversations are starting, and the Heat are in position, partially because they have draft picks they can possibly trade. They can trade up to 3 first-round picks, especially if they make a side deal with Oklahoma City Thunder, that they can get access to another pick. They have a couple of young players that there is interest in. Look at Duncan Robinson, the way he's rebuilt his value over the last couple of months. Caleb Martin is very an interesting player. Tyler Hero hasn't been a part of this run, but is on a contract that is tradable. A lot of people like him. Players want to play in Miami. Star players want to play in Miami. And so when you ask the question, can Jimmy Butler be the best team? But does he have to be the best player on a team? On this team, he does have to be the best player. I do think for them to overcome this juggernaut team potentially we have in the Denver Nuggets, I think he does have to be playoff Jimmy. But if you're asking me about long-term, about beyond this year, I think this Heat team is very upwardly mobile and that they're going to potentially be able to add significant talent between now and next season. Now, I am not going to say the players' names. I am not going to guarantee that it's possible, but it is definitely, there for the Heat to bring in some more talent to put alongside Jimmy that he could play in that role and be successful.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.